Okay, hello guys. So I want to talk about being turned over to a reprobate mind. So the last couple of audios was talking about black women devolving. And for right now, this is kind of how these are going to be the next kind of few videos I'm going to make. And it's not to bash anybody, but I understand that some people still have their issues with black men. Don't get me wrong, but it's to the point where I'm not a person who... Oh, sorry about that. I'm just reading something. Yeah, I'm not the kind of person who will stay on a topic too long, right? So even with this topic about black women devolving, I probably will only make a couple of more videos like that and leave it alone and just leave up the videos for people to see. Because at this point, I think, and the reason why I'm sticking on these videos for a while, because you have a lot of black women right now who can see through when they say they can see through a lot of black men. I mean, I can't say that they're lying. I don't know their lives, but they want this sisterhood badly, and and I want to talk about how, some people say, well, what black women should do is they should stick together like other women. They should stick together. And let me tell you something. I understand all of that. Okay, staying on code, sticking together, and do all of that stuff. But the problem is that you get to a point where you see that is not going to happen. Like, say, it's no different than a lot of these black women that want to hold on to these black men. No matter what these black men do, you get these pro-black women, and I don't want to just call them pro-black, just to get women who want to see the black community, the so-called black community. They want to see them still do well. There's nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of people in their nations that want to see their own nation do well. The issue with that is that those particular women who keep talking about, well, black people, we need to do this, and black people, we need to do that, and black people, we need to come together, and black people... You have a group of people that's just not interested in working together. You have a group of people that's full of self-hate. So all of that, we should, it's not going to do anything for a group of people who have no interest in making any kind of progress whatsoever in their lives. It does no good to help, to keep saying that. And so I'm going to go back to talking about how a lot of these black women who are aware of black men still talk. You've had a couple come in my comment section, and I completely understand where they're coming from. But at the same time, I'm on the reality of what's really happening, not about what black women should do. I'm saying what's really going on here, okay? And what's really going on is that although we can all see and we can all agree that black women need to come together. Black women need to learn how to work together. Black women, we are least protected. Black women are being targeted right now, okay? Black women are under attack. And so black women need to come together. I can agree with all of that stuff. The problem is it's not happening. And so I have to go with what's really happening. And I'm going to get to the part of a reprobate mind, okay? A reprobate mind. So we are aware that most of us have gone through some form of indoctrination. Some black women have gone through more indoctrination than others, but it all depends on what type of indoctrination. Because, I can say that I've gone through indoctrination my whole life, but it did not have anything to do with no pro-black stuff. But I definitely went through a heavy level of indoctrination, so much so to the point where I had to do some spiritual work and fight to get my spirit back. Okay, so my indoctrination might not have anything to do with the black, so-called black community, but it's definitely a heavy level of indoctrination that I had to undo. Okay, that I had to undo. So what I'm saying is that everybody, one way or another, even going to school is a level of indoctrination. I'm just letting you know, okay? I'm letting you know, because most of what we do in the world right now, especially in the United States of America, is so far from our natural self, okay? The stuff that we do, especially in the United States of America, that we have to do according to the system, is not natural to human life. It's not natural to nature anyway. So I would have to say that all of us who were born and raised in America and still living here have undergone indoctrination. I have to say that, okay? And so it gets to the point where once you know better, you have to start to do better. And you can't, these excuses can't keep working. The excuses can't keep working, okay? And I think, black women at this point are being exposed, so you have other black women can let go, let them go, okay? Because it's stopping you from your purpose, right? See, what I'm doing right now with these audios is kind of my purpose right now. And so me doing these audios is really not stopping me from my purpose, because this is actually where my purpose is really kind of supposed to be. Now, I'm not supposed to be a person that's supposed to be doing a whole bunch of stuff and using up all my energy and not get nothing in return. But for the most part, you rarely see any of my audios more than 20 minutes, okay? And I don't do a bunch of editing and hours of work and all that stuff. So I'm not pulling too much of my energy into anything. But yeah, I want to talk about being turned over to a reprobate mind. Now, you remember that story. I'm not a Christian, so I don't want to get into much religious talk, but I'm going to talk about the story of the Pharaoh and how the Pharaoh was turned over to a reprobate mind in Egypt, because that's just the kind of heart he had anyway. So he was just turned over to a reprobate mind when he kept being warned and warned and warned to let the Hebrews go. All right? And so he was turned over to a reprobate mind because he refused to listen when he was given warning time after time after time, being warned and being warned and being warned and being warned. His heart, he chose not to change course. He chose to stay the way he was. Maybe he liked the power he had. He had a huge ego. So he was finally turned over to a reprobate mind. Okay, and this is what's happened to a lot of black women. This is what has happened to a lot of black women. They have been given time, even though they turn their daughters over to these predators to allow these girls to be raped. They have been given time and time and time and time and time to stop what they were doing, especially when it comes to these black men. Okay, to stop birthing out of season, to stop being so reckless with their reproduction, to stop to learn how to see themselves first. Okay, these guys going online. Why would a bunch of black women really need to go online to expose black men when they've gotten online to expose themselves? So these guys get online to expose themselves, but yet and still you need black women to make a bunch of videos talking about them. Why? To tell you to leave them alone. Why? When they're exposing themselves, why can't you believe your own experience? Why can't you believe what you see? Why do somebody need to repeat themselves 50 million times and become vexed in their spirit? Because you have too many group of women who want to hold on to their indoctrination because they're not willing to reset. They're not willing to take steps to be reprogrammed. That's what I had to do. I had to reprogram my mind. That's what I had to do. These ladies are unwilling to but that takes the work. These ladies are unwilling to put in the work. So what they want you to do is accept them as they are, even if it's detrimental to you, detrimental to them, and detrimental to little children. They want you to accept them, and that's just not going to work. So that's what I'm talking about, just being turned over to a reprobate mind, regardless of what the reasons are. A lot of them, I don't know about all of them, but a lot of them have been given chance after chance after chance after chance to change their ways, to start over, to do something different, okay? To change up their energy pattern, and they did not do, even if it can't happen all at once, because nothing can happen all at once. You're not even supposed to do everything at once, because you can't, there's no process to learn anything. So when I say taking steps to change, it's one thing at a time, taking things one day at a time. It's not just changing everything overnight. It can't work like that. That's not even how evolution even works. Now I'm talking about evolving as a person now. I'm not talking about no evolution theory. That's not how you evolve even as a person, as a spiritual being. You have to do things day by day and step by step, because you need to learn in between so you don't make that same mistake again. But these ladies are not even willing to take step one. And for that reason, they should be cut off. I don't care what the reasons are for them to be how they are. I don't care anything about being programmed, because we all have some type of program, okay? So I don't care anything anymore about what they have gone through, because too many of them have seen the truth for what it is, and they choose to do what they do. They have now been turned over to a reprobate mind. Okay, that's why my last two audios about black women are now, a lot of them who refused, who rejected wisdom, are now devolving, and they can't be helped. The windows of opportunity is closed to them. The windows to the spirit is closed to them. The window to the crown, the sun, the crown is close to them. They can't even get to their crown, because they rejected wisdom so much that they can't even get to their moon. They can't even get to their crown, their sun. They can't even, because they rejected wisdom for so long, their intuition is all gone. The intuition is just gone. Okay? And that's their own spirit that closed that off to them. Nobody else closed that off to them but their own spirit, which is their authentic self. Okay, which is their authentic self. Their own spirit closed that door to them, not anybody else. Okay, and so like I said, that's why I made audios admonishing those black women who want to talk, who I understand the saying that, yeah, black women need to stick together, black women need to learn how to work together. But I understand that black women need to do that, but what do we see that's happening is that black women have now, a lot of them have been turned over to a reprobate mind, because too many have refused wisdom. They did not heed the warnings. Okay, and so for that reason, although those things sound good for black women to stick together, your best bet is to stay away from most black women. That's your best bet, is to stay away from them. Okay, and that's not say if you see them in public, go on the other side of the room. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about as far as giving them too much of your attention, talking to them, entertaining them. You got to stay away from a lot of black women the same way you got to stay away from these black men now. Okay? So these audios are for those women who are already aware of a lot of black men, because black men shows you who they are. They showed you, and to be honest with you, black women are showing who they are too. But it's a lot of black women who are so into the sisterhood, which is nothing wrong with that, that they keep trying to say, well, black women just need to stick together and this is what black women need to do. And it's not going to work, because black women don't want to. That's the problem. And it's no different than a lot of these race first black women that want to hold on to black men. Holding on to black women who clearly reject wisdom is no different from these other black women who hold on to black men. It's the same thing. You're doing the same thing that those other ladies are doing when they hold on to black men, except you're holding on to black women. And I understand you want to hold on to them because you're a black woman yourself, but you got to recognize when something is dangerous. Okay, you got to recognize when something is very unhealthy for you. And that'll be it, with that. I'm to the point where I don't support black women just because they're black women. No, because that can ruin your finances. Spiritually, that might have an effect on your finances. If you want to support somebody simply because you're a black woman, there might be some consequences on your finances, because those consequences have sold those black women. It's almost like they sold into a group of men who continue to tear them down. It's just like a person, you giving somebody money, and that person is going about drugs with it. And I know some people say, well, it don't matter what they do with it because your intentions were good. That's that light and love stuff. Well, I'm going to tell you something that I've learned, and it's that you got to be careful who you give your money to, and you need to have some kind of discernment on what's going to happen with your money, especially when a person have an alcohol addiction, a crack addiction, or whatever. You better be careful giving your hard-earned money that you put your energy into a person that's going to put that money on some crack, because that's going to have a negative effect on your finances, and that's the doggone truth. Okay? And this is why I don't support a black woman just because she's a black woman at this point. If she's going to turn around and give the support I give her, she's going to give it to a group of men who tear her down. I'm not going to give her a dime. I'm not going to give her a dime, because that is a woman who probably most likely have witnessed what these guys have done, have witnessed these guys tear her down. And I have a hard time believing that a lot of these ladies are not aware. And because I can talk to somebody from different countries, from different nations, that are completely aware of how black men feel about black women. But then you have black women themselves that want to bury their heads in the sand like it's not happening. I'm not giving to a woman like that. I'm not going to give to a woman like that, because it's no different from giving money to a person only for them to go buy some crack with it. You give money to a black woman so she can continue to sow into a group of men that keep crapping on her. Don't give her nothing, because it's going to have a negative effect on you. Okay, because that's a woman who has been turned over to a reprobate mind. Okay, and you really haven't done anything that's good for the community sowing into a person like that. Okay, but anyway, with that being said, I will talk to you later.